Hey, how's it going? It's Sovereign. Welcome back to another Genshin video. Are you a Rosaria shrimp? It's okay, it's okay. This is a safe zone. Look, she had some updates recently, and no, we're not talking about her character model, okay? Yes, I know some people are upset about that. I'm not one of them. It doesn't really bother me too much, but I know some people are upset. But there are some changes to her kit and the numbers when it comes to damage and cooldowns and stuff. So I wanted to talk about those changes today, and are they good? Are they bad? Also, I do talk about how I'm thinking about building her once I roll for her when it comes to her weapons and artifacts. There's a few different ways you can do things depending on what type of constellations you have as well. So make sure you guys stick around for the entire video so you get all of those hints and tips for her kit. If you guys like videos like this, be sure to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. So without further ado, let's hop into this video. This is the only guide you need to build Rosaria. All right, first let's talk about her nerfs. All right, you guys already know that the character model nerfs happened. This is what it is now. This is what it was before during the 1.2 patch and story arc. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Look, it doesn't look bad. I know some people might be upset with this, but it is what it is, guys. It doesn't look horrible. But let's talk about her. And how are we going to build her? Because her kit is a little interesting. She's a polearm user, 4-star polearm user, and has cryo. Going to be the first cryo polearm we have. She has attack percent scaling in her kit up to 24%. So remember that when we're starting to talk about artifacts and weapons. All right, moving along. Ascension materials, she uses the ice crystals, ice jades, I don't know what they're called, ice stones, the cryo-regifine material, okay? she needs these, like everyone needs their own elemental ones. She also takes the cryo-regifine material that drops for Ascension materials. Valberries, these are easy to get in Mondstadt. They're pretty much, there's a certain area in Mondstadt where they're just everywhere, and they come in like 4s, I think, or more sometimes. I don't know. And then they use the Fatui badges as well to ascend. If you're going to be rolling for her, start now and start saving them more, because you're gonna need a lot. It's just the way it is when it comes to leveling characters. All right, so she has a 5-strike attack sequence, I guess we would call it. Her attack pattern is 5 strikes. Xiao and Hu Tao both have a 6-strike attack. Her E, Ravaging Confession, she kind of like hits them from behind, like teleports and hits them from behind. And it gets some pretty cool scaling later. So with her Ascension perk that unlocks, I think it's at 30 or 40. When she strikes an opponent from behind using Ravaging Confession, her crit rate increases by 12% for 5 seconds. So she gets some crit rate in her kit. So also remember that when we're talking about other things in a moment. So the scaling on this, she does have 2 hits. I think it's an initial hit and then that strike from behind. Cooldown has been changed and updated to 6 seconds. So this is where we're going to start talking about the update buff that she had. Okay, so previously she was doing more damage on this skill. Over here on this Reddit post, it's 65% starting and 7 seconds cooldown. Now we are at 58% starting and 6-second cooldown. So we lose a little bit of damage on the scaling of her E. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Kind of a lot of bit. Okay, it's kind of a lot of bit. All right, so we are missing out on quite a bit of damage for Ravaging Confession opposed to the older build, but we get to use it a little bit quicker. Before I forget, there was also a change to the ult. The ultimate does more damage now than what it did previously. So if we go back to this chart, the old numbers started at 86%, went to 128, and now goes to 104 and to 152. And look at the dot. Look at the dot. 108% to 132%. Dot. Okay. how many times does this tick? How often does it tick? I have questions, but I think this is going to be a game changer right here in her kit. This makes her pretty strong as a sub DPS, burst DPS in this game. Also a main damage dealer because she has attack percent scaling in her kit. She has the crit rate boost through here, and this is just C0. So if we're talking about her second passive that she gets, casting Rites of Termination increases crit rate of all nearby party members except Rosaria herself, so everybody but Rosaria, by 50% of Rosaria's crit rate for 10 seconds. So if you're crushing Rosaria or building her with massive crit rate, they can get up to 15%. So if you build her to a point where she gets 100 crit rate, which it's not smart to do that if you're talking about her just as the main damage dealer, but because it just gets to diminishing returns after a certain point. But if you build her to 100% crit rate and just use her as a support or a sub DPS, she can buff somebody else up to 15% crit rate. And plus she already has crit rate here that she gains 12% by using her E. Let's talk a little bit about the constellations that we have for her. C1, when Rosaria deals a crit hit, once again, we're looking at crit stuff, right? Crit hit, her attack speed increases by 10%. Her normal attack damage increases by 10% for 4 seconds. So we're getting attack speed and attack damage increase with C1 when you crit. So building crits is going to give her more damage and basically DPS if you're talking about attack speed. That's nasty. I like that. I like it. C2, the duration of Ice Lance created by Rites of Termination is increased by 4 seconds. So the duration of Ice Lance created by Rites of Termination, and I believe that the Ice Lance is the dot. So this dot is going to last by 4 more seconds, so 8 seconds, so that's 12 seconds. That's almost 100% uptime if you get energy. Pretty pog. And you could be like doing ult into your E after that dot ends, hit the E, and then after that goes, you're ready to ult again, because a 60 energy cost is actually pretty low, and it's easy to get Xiao's 80 energy cost back when his E doesn't even give him energy while he's in his ult. So, and I can usually do back-to-back ults with him fairly easily if I'm actually fighting enemies. So, getting this back isn't going to be hard at all if you're fighting enemies. And if you built her right to where she could take out enemies, or at least get a lot of them to have health fairly quickly, she's going to be able to pick up energy without a problem. 60 is relatively nothing. And she'll most likely get some type of energy recharge in substats through artifacts to help you get to your need a little bit quicker. All right, so let's go back to the constellation. So C2 gives you a longer dot doing more damage. C3 is a skill level up. C4, Ravaging Confession crit hits. Once again, crit hits generate 5 energy for Rosaria. It can only be triggered once each time Ravaging Confessions is cast. So it doesn't stack to multiple enemies. So if you hit it and it hits multiple enemies, you're not going to get like 10 energy if you hit 2 enemies, or if you happen to hit a nearby enemy. So it's just 5. So this for the supports that you're going to be hitting that ult, and then when that goes down, you hit the E to get more energy back, and you're going to go right back into ult. So this just makes her have like 100% uptime once you get to C4. Then we go to C5. Once again, it's a talent level up. C6, Rites of Termination's attack decreases opponent's physical resistance by 20% for 10 seconds. Once again, supporting that she would be a great pair for someone like Razor. I'm not a Razor main. I don't really use Razor because he is a stingy character. He's a stingy build character, and I just get tired of just swing. Razor's not that interesting of a character to play for me, so I don't play him. But this would be a great support for Razor, especially if you were to get C6 on her constellations. If you want to main her, this is going to make her even more powerful. You can put a Crescent Pike on her if you have this. Talking about Crescent Pike, let's go ahead and just talk about weapons now, since we're going down that road. All right, so first let me say, whenever we're talking about weapons, for the time being, 5 stars, 99% of the time, will always be better than any 4-star when it comes to raw damage. Higher base attack means higher scaling off of whatever attack increases or damage increases you have in your artifacts or in your kit anywhere. So starting with the bigger base, always better, and a lot of the time they have better substats and better substat scaling, I should say, and then better passive abilities as well, typically. But there are some occasions where a 4-star may beat a 5-star at high refinement. So that being said, let's talk about this. 5 stars. Any of them will work. I don't think one really stands out more than others, except for the Skyward Spine having crit in its passive ability here, and you're also getting attack speed boost as well. That both of those stats right there complement her build. Energy recharge could help her get 100% uptime if you're going to be running her as a main. Energy recharge would help. You do get a high base attack, it being a 5-star weapon. And if you look at all the other 5 stars, it has other than the Primordial Jade, the highest base attack. All right. So it's a great weapon for her to have. On top of that, she gets like this little extra damage boost. 40% attack is damage in a small AoE every 2 seconds, which is nice. So like if you have this weapon, I think this might be the best in slot for 5-star for her. If you're doing some other type of builds and stuff, certain things will help. If you want to go full crit rate build on her, you can definitely try the Primordial Jade. But I don't think she'll need that much crit rate if you're going to be doing a different type of setup for her. If you're doing a physical build, however, if you're going physical build on her for 5-star, I think this might be the one. But then again, crit damage, if you're building crit rate all over her for everything else, Staff of Homa might be good for her too. So whatever complements the way you're going to build, that's how you should be doing. All right, I'm just telling you right now, Skyward Spine for most cases, if you just want to use her as a main DPS to make it easy and build her the way I think I'm going to build her, I think this would be the best option. All right, when it comes to 4 stars, it's a little bit easier to identify what would complement her kit. So if we look at right away, this is already highlighted, I don't know why, but it kind of works out for us. The Royal Spear. Royal Spear has a great base attack for a 4-star. It's not the best. Wait, I think it is tied as the best. 44 is the highest here. Yeah, so it has, it's one of the best base stat 4-star spears, and it has attack percent, which complements Rosaria's passive ability. Well, not passive ability, but passive scaling, which is attack percent. On top of that, the passive gives us crit rate boost, which also complements what Rosaria is built to do, is get a little bit of crit rate here and there in her kit for certain things, and getting also extra attack increase and speed increase and other things when you do crit. So crit rate is very friendly for Rosaria. So wherever you can get it, I think it's nice. And this attack boost would be huge for her, because if she's a main damage dealer, you want to scale that attack as much as possible by also giving her a good solid base to scale it as well. All right, for the next spear, I think that Deathmatch would be an okay match if you're going to go that, if you want to maximize that crit rate build and go for that crit rate build where you can get 100% crit rate on her and then pass off 50% as a support character for someone like Razor. So if you're going that route, you can use a Deathmatch. Crescent Pike could work. Good base damage, physical damage if she is main DPSing, and this would help if you have her C6. Crescent Pike would be a decent match for her C6. Once again, if you have someone like Fischl, where you can support her by putting odds out on the field, then you can get some super conducts and get off a nice physical build, possibly get a physical cup if you want to, and you're also going to have 100 uptime on your abilities as well. So you have a lot of things that you can do. If you also want to do freeze comp and add in Fischl, so you want to do Xingqiu and Fischl to support her as a main DPS, you can have full control of the battlefield while just freezing everything, superconducting everything, and having 100% uptime on her abilities. So there's a lot of cool things that you could possibly do with her. If you're going for a physical damage build, I think it might work if she's C6. So that's all I really think I can suggest. Once again, use what you have when it comes to weapons. If you don't have anything ideal, use what works best for the time being until you get something else, or until a weapon banner has better odds for you to get what you want out of it. All right, so now that we have the weapons talked about, artifacts. How do you build her? So I'm using 4-piece Blizzard Strayer, so I'm going to get the cryo damage bonus since she's cryo heavy. And then I also get 20% crit rate increase if the enemy is affected by cryo, and extra 20% for a total of 40% if they are frozen. So if I want to do a freeze comp with Xing Cho, I can do that and always have that 40% crit rate just ready to go. If we add that 40 also to the crit rate that she gets from this right here, that's 12%. And if you stack other artifacts that have crit rate substats, you're getting a large amount of crit rate. If you have a weapon that has crit rate in it, whether it be the substat or the variable crit rates that you can get from something like the Royal Spear, where it's 8%, max stack of 5 stacks, so up to 40% right there. So that plus the other 40 from this, that's 80%, plus the 12% after you hit your E. You're looking at 92% crit rate right there, plus at least 8% through substats of of your artifacts. That's all you have to do. If you do that, if you have a Royal Spear, that's why I think that is probably the best weapon in slot for her when it comes to 4 stars. If you have that weapon, you can get to 100% crit rate on her without really struggling to get it. I would build her this way with the 4-piece to get that variable crazy crit rate, and then give her a cryo damage cup, because I don't really want to build her for fizz damage in the beginning. But if you are going to go fizz damage, switch it out to a fizz damage cup. And if you're C6, I think that fizz damage main DPS would be pretty POG with her. But hey, that is going to be it for the Rosaria update video, and also how I think I'm going to build her for the time being. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about her, all the changes. How are you guys going to build her? Do you think that physical build at C6 is even viable? Let me know. Do you think just going full cryo is the way no matter what? Is crit rate even that important for her, or should you just abandon that and go for other substats? Leave all your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.